Good morning, everybody. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Hope you are enjoying the start to your Monday. We've got a fun one in store today here on the show. We are talking Caleb Williams. Did the deep dive this morning. Watched a couple of games, 2 games in full, all 22 that we'll talk about here from last season. Both games from last season. I'll give you the games we'll discuss and your thoughts as well. So looking forward to it. I'm running a little bit behind on some stuff, so just give me 2 minutes. Got to get some stuff ready here behind the scenes, but we are going to get started here in just a second. So my suggestions, throw your thoughts if you've had a chance to watch Caleb Williams. Get me your interpretations of him as well. I've got the trusty notebook ready to go with my notes of what I saw this morning. So we'll discuss Caleb Williams here in just a second. Give me a few short minutes, and we will get this week and this show on the road. Appreciate it, everybody. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Sorry about that. Just needed to get some stuff done here ahead of time. We'll transition here to the big screen. Hello, everybody. Hope you are all having a fantastic start to your week. It is that time. It has been asked for. I know I have talked about doing it for a while, but we are going to get into finally discussing some 2024 prospects, specifically the quarterbacks in particular, and we are starting with Caleb Williams. So I hope you guys are along for the journey. We've got the immaculate grid, both football and baseball versions in the post show. We're going to continue to do that as our post show topic every day, but I'm looking forward to the conversation and the discourse about Caleb Williams because, and I'll share a little bit of this when we get the show started, but went into it with a certain view of Caleb Williams based on watching him last year, getting to see some of the all-22 and stuff. My opinion has changed, mostly positive. There are some things that I would like to see him work on, and I'd like to see some improvements in, and I'll share those things with you. And again, it's off of a 2-game sample size, and there's a lot of tape that we will continue to watch here throughout the course of the season. But we wanted to start this series with a kind of an introductory look at all these guys and my initial thoughts on them. So we will do that here on the show today. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. We will press record for the podcast audience and get this series underway. And welcome into the Monday edition of the TDN Daily podcast. Chris Schubert back with you here once again on the show. Hope you are all having a fantastic start to your Monday, a fantastic start to your week. And I know I say it every single day, but we have a fun one in store for you here today on the show because finally it has been talked about. I have teased it. It has been asked of me to do this series. I have been looking forward to doing this series here on the show for both the live YouTube audience and for you listening in the podcast feed. We are finally going to talk about 2024 draft prospects and specifically 2024 quarterback prospects. And the first guy up for us to discuss here on the show today is USC quarterback Caleb Williams. I spent some time this morning, watched a couple of games from the 2022 season. For those on the YouTube side of things, you see the trusty notebook, you see the notes that are written down here that we are going to discuss. A lot to like, some things that concern me, things that I'd like to see improvements on in 2023. And again, we will share our overall thoughts. The chat is already sharing their thoughts on Caleb Williams. So this should be a fun, very interactive conversation. And the thing that I will say that is, I think, the important place for us to start here when doing this is I went into this deep dive this morning, going into the All-22 on 2 games. And I'll tell you, the 2 games that I watched were both games from last year, both games from the 2022 season. I watched him against ASU, and I watched him against Oregon State. And this is not going to be about them on this show today, but I would just like to very clearly be on the record saying the Oregon State defense is very fun to watch. Boy, do they make things difficult for anybody at the quarterback position. And the things that they did to Caleb Williams, where they played such good man coverage. Their guys were attached at the hip to receivers. What they do up front, confusing with their fronts and moving guys around and showing pressure. They are just very, very good at what they do. And while I was going into this, watching Caleb Williams, I found myself on plays going, wow, great defense there from Oregon State. So just want to give them a shout out here before we do get into the deep dive, because they were, fortunately, one of the teams I got to watch today. And it was a tale of 2 games. I thought he was much more successful in the ASU game than the Oregon State game. So I was happy that I maybe got both ends of the spectrum. So those were the 2 games that we watched. But I went into this deep dive this morning with a certain preconceived notion about Caleb Williams. Understand all the talent, understand the arm, understand his ability to move around. But I felt at times that he had a propensity to maybe try some things or do some things that were hero ball-ish that felt very, and he's much more talented than this player, but they felt very Johnny Manziel to me, that they were things that he was able to get away with at the college level, that if he were to do those things on NFL Sundays, that they would be very, very disastrous for him. And there were a couple of plays during the watch this morning of these 2 games where you see those plays that give you some cause for concern, at least for me personally. There are some things that I pause and I go, he cannot do that at the next level. There was specifically a play against ASU in which the pressure kind of captures him in, and he just jump throws it across his body to the far sideline, and the ASU defender misses what would have been an interception, and the USC receiver makes the catch, and it's a big play. But I think if that happens on Sundays, it's an interception. So I went into it with that kind of, those were my causes for concern, and I came away with it looking at a guy that I understand the reason why he is considered the top quarterback prospect here in the 2024 draft class. We'll share some of the thoughts here from the chat, and then I'll share my notes here. But from the pre-show, Heldy says, I value Caleb highly as a prospect because he is a rare, hard-to-replicate trait. His playmaking and off-platform game puts him in rare air among QB prospects. At this point, it would be hard to displace him as the number 1 QB prospect of this class for me. And then Bailey says, I think Caleb is as good of a prospect at doing the off-script stuff as I've seen. He will get comped to Mahomes for the sheer talent on display multiple times a game where he does incredible stuff. When on script, whilst good, was slightly less impressive than I thought. He is slow with his reads, but gets away with it due to having good talent around him and the arm talent if he is late. I think there was a time where he is too slow getting to his second read, then has to make something crazy happen to get out of it. He always manages to do the crazy things, though. Yeah, I think that's a very fair interpretation of how I feel about him. Although I don't think he's super slow with his reads. I think he's fine. I think it could be better. I think there's absolutely opportunity for him to prove in that regard. There was a drive in the 4th quarter of the Oregon State game that I watched where they were down 14-10. It's the drive where they scored the touchdown to go ahead. And he did a very nice job, I think, of not trying to go for those big plays, not trying to go for those home run hitters, and just taking what the defense gave him, hitting some checkdowns, hitting some short intermediate stuff to just keep the chains moving. Had a huge 4th and 6 run where he picked up 6.5. Wasn't going for the hero ball super home run play. Was just taking what that Oregon State defense, which it didn't give him a lot, what it gave him, and he was able to move them down the field, and then the touchdown pass to put them ahead. With some special stuff. But yeah, agree with a lot of that from an overall perspective. I have here in my notes, and the thing that really impresses me about Caleb Williams is we talk about the off-script stuff. His ability to, when pressure comes at him, to evade that pressure, to extend plays, and to do those special off-script stuff. I think the 2 things that really, one is a super positive. The other is a positive to an extent. And it's one of the things that I'd like to see him maybe grow into in 2023. But the real big positive for me in his off-script stuff is he has great balance when there's contact made. He does such a good job of taking hits. And you saw it in the Utah game, right? In the Pac-12 title game, he's getting beat up. We know he's a tough son of a gun, right? We know that he's able to absorb punishment, take some hits, and stay in football games and be really competitive and still compete at a high level. But for me, one of the things specifically in the ASU game that I saw that was really telling to me is he takes some contact and he'll just bounce off of it. He keeps his balance nice. He keeps his head up, and he's always trying to look to make a play. And that to me is super impressive. You see some guys, both at the college and the pro level, is when they make contact, when they get hit, they're just going down like a ton of bricks. Or they kind of stumble and they're able to maybe make a 2-3 yard or get back to the line of scrimmage and it's a positive play. He's always bouncing off of contact, and he's always got his head upfield, and he's always looking for what's next. His feet, he's always able to get them flipped around and put into the right spot. Like, that to me is really impressive, his balance when pressure is coming at him. He does have the patented, the Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes spin move out of the pocket. He does that at a really high level. There was a play specifically, I think it was in the ASU game, where he's getting flushed to his left off of contact, and he's able to flip his hips completely back around and just throw a dime down the middle of the field. That stuff's really impressive to me, that he's able to flip his hips like that in the sense of pressure. Bailey says, I think Sam says he does freelance a little too much. He retreats so far in the pocket and can be loose with the ball. He consistently holds the ball for more than 3.2 seconds and fumbled 17 times in the past 2 years. Yeah, he does hold on to the ball quite a bit. I think for me, the thing about holding on to the ball too long, and this is one of those positives that I think is a cause for concern or something that I like to see him improve, and it goes into talking about the off-script stuff. When he's rolling out of the pocket and it's a off-script play, it's not a designed run, it's not an RPO, it is a play where he is rolling out of the pocket because of pressure or he's trying to evade something, he's always looking to throw the ball. And you may say, how is that a bad thing, Chris? There are times where he's got a lot of open field in front of him to pick up 8, 10, 12, or break a huge play and pick up maybe 20, 25 yards, and he's still kind of looking to throw. There are plays where it's sometimes down in the red zone. There was a play in the Oregon State game where he had wide open lane. He could have picked up 15 yards and had USC first and goal, and instead he kind of tried to force a ball in the back of the end zone into a guy, tried to high point it, and it just wasn't a great throw. I'd like to see him take off a little bit more. We know he's extremely athletic. We know he's extremely talented. Use those legs a little bit more in the running game, right? Because he is athletic. He is explosive. He is able to make guys miss. I want him to use that a little bit more. I like that he's trying to keep his head up, and I like that he's trying to be a passer first. But there are some, I think, easy pickings. There are some easy plays for him to just absolutely feast on and have to force defenses to respect him in the running game that he maybe isn't necessarily taking. Bailey says, I agree, he is still okay. It is still better than most of the QB prospects I have watched in the class. Certainly not a true weakness, but is something that I flagged multiple times as needing work. Sam says, challenges double coverage at poor times. Vision doesn't always reveal lurking safeties or undercutting DBs. Lack of touch on some intermediate throws leads to interceptions by underneath defenders. Sam, the touch to me is a huge one, and I have it written down here. And we're going out of order in my notes, and I kind of figured we were. We already talked about the great balance. We talked about that I'd like to see him, run on the move a little bit more than throwing it. But Sam, the touch is something to me that is I would love to see major improvements on. He's got great arm strength. He is able to put a ton of zip on the ball. He's able to make any throw on the field. He can throw it from the far hash to the sideline, to the boundary. He is able to make all of those throws. He's able to zip it in there in a tight window. He can do all of those things. The one thing, and again, I only watched 2 games, and I watched both games from last year, so it is a small sample size. But the one takeaway that I had written down here is that I would love to see more touch on some throws. There are some throws that he can make where if he just puts a little bit more touch and takes off some of the zip, he would be able to really elevate his game to another level and really, really, truly, I think, reach that next tier of quarterback prospect. So for me, touch was a big thing I had on my list here. I think at times he's extremely decisive with what he wants to do with the ball when he has it, and I like that. The freelancing stuff is where you start to get into the indecisiveness and he's holding on to the ball. But when he feels, at least to me when watching it, when he trusts his first read and he knows where he wants to go, or at least he knows where the first and second read are and he knows how to read the play, it is decisive to me on how he likes to operate in this offense. And that's one of the big takeaways that I had. He also has the different arm angles that he throws, and that's why you're going to get the Mahomes comp, and because he's able to just change his arm slot and hit those swing passes, hit those screen passes out in the flat. Sam says he does double pat the ball a bunch. He does kind of burp the baby a little bit. He does do that. Taylor B says, is there any concern about him coming out of Lincoln Riley's offense? Will there be a big learning curve? I don't want to answer that right now. I want to see what he looks like this year. I want to see another full year in this system. And then I'd like to answer that at the end of the season. I don't think there's anything that I saw in the 2 games that I watched today that make me think that there would be a massive learning curve. There's always going to be a learning curve. There's always going to be subtle nuances that you're going to have to learn depending on where you go. But for me, there wasn't anything that was glaring. All the stuff that I have concerns about, I think, are things that you would have regardless of the system that you find yourself in. Listen, the off-platform stuff where he's jumping around and he's able to just on the run kind of flick it, and he's got all that stuff, right? The off-platform stuff we know about. Again, I still have, it's not as much as I have it originally, but I do have the concern about him relying too much on his athleticism and his arm strength to try to make stuff happen and play hero ball for plays that he should just eat or throw it away or just scramble and pick up 1, 2, 3 yards. I still think he has the propensity to try to make stuff happen at all times, and I think that might bite him. Tuttle says his defense wasn't exactly doing him any favors. It falls to him to make plays and results in holding onto the ball. Definitely a habit he'll need to do more sparingly in the NFL. I tend to agree with that. We mentioned the different arm slots. We mentioned the concerns about relying. Did I mention how good his arm strength is? I'd like more touch, but did I mention how great his arm strength is? I want to make sure that we like that. His red zone accuracy, I really like. I think down in the red zone, he does a really nice job. He had actually a play in each game that I watched in Arizona State and against Oregon State. And they were basically the same play. I have to go back and look at them side by side to see if they were the same exact play call. But he kind of slides to his right a little bit, like a little rollout, and he finds his receiver at the back stretch of the end zone, and he just throws it up, and he lets his receiver go up and high point it. And the accuracy while he's on the move, facing some pressure to put that ball in that spot both times was really nice, and I was very, very impressed with what he's able to do down in the red zone because he feels like he's got a really good feel for how things are supposed to operate down there as well. He's accurate on the run, which I like. When he is rolling out of the pocket, he is able to have that consistency, to have that accuracy that I really like. I think I talked about it. I don't know if it was in the pre-show or at the top of the show when heaping praise on Oregon State, but I loved the key fourth quarter drive that he had in that game against Oregon State where he just took his team down the field. He wasn't playing hero ball in that spot. The only big play that he had that you could consider hero ball is the 4th and 6 scramble where he took off and was able to turn that into a first down on a QB scramble. But took what the defense gave him, used a lot of the middle of the field and just kind of marched them slowly down the field and then made the big throw for the touchdown to put them ahead. And then I thought he feels pressure really well. And I know we have some concerns about him freelancing too much, but I think he feels, and this offensive line wasn't particularly good in the 2 games that I watched. They give up some stuff, specifically on the left side of the offensive line. I have some question marks. They really, truly kind of gave up some stuff where he had to be scrambling. And that's where I think maybe he kind of freelances too much because he's kind of expecting the offensive line to break down a little bit because it has. Some poor pass blocking from the running backs, which didn't help. But he feels pressure really well. I think he's good at stepping up when he needs to. He's good at stepping out when he needs to. He's good at kind of spinning out when he needs to, that kind of stuff that I like. And that's the kind of stuff you can't teach, right? Feeling pressure, having that athleticism to be able to step up and make a nice little sidestep or juke move to step up and out of the pocket. And again, like we said earlier, he's keeping his head up. He's trying to make a throw down the field. And so because of that, he's able to keep himself in a position to really be able to take advantage of some wide open stuff down the field. And he had a couple of plays like that as well. I really liked what I saw. And again, I went into it kind of expecting me to be like, nah, I don't know if I really like this guy as much as everybody else. Again, he's the first quarterback that we watch, so he goes number 1 on the board right now. He is QB1 for us until we watch Drake May, who will be the next guy up. Probably watch him on Wednesday. But for me, I really, really liked a lot of the stuff that I saw. I understand the Mahomes comp. I don't see it completely. I understand. Who said it in the chat? Taylor B says he kind of feels to me more like a taller Kyler than Mahomes. That feels a little bit more in line with where I'm like, I don't like to do the comp stuff. You guys know I'm not a scout here. I'm just giving you my thoughts on what I've seen watching, and we're learning and growing together in doing this. But I liked what I saw, was pretty impressed with him. And again, the things that I would say are his strengths are, I love his arm strength. I think he's got great balance when facing pressure in the pocket that allows him to extend plays. He does have that trait that a lot of guys don't have. You have that athleticism. You're able to work off script. You're able to do all of that stuff. It's the on-script stuff that's going to get you, I think, to the pros if you're able to do that consistently. And I think he's okay at that right now. Bailey, do you see him as a generational guy like he is being labeled? Oh, I don't think so. I'm not there yet. I'm not. And again, I only watched 2 games in full, so I don't want to like absolutely put the stamp down and with my limited authority say I don't think he's a generational guy. But right now, if you were to ask me that question, no, I think he's a very good prospect. I think there's every reason why he would be drafted number 1. I totally get. He checks all of those boxes in today's NFL, so I get it. But the touch is a concern. I think the off script stuff is a concern because sometimes he tries to do a little too much, and I'd like to see him kind of dial that back. And again, I'd like to see him be a little bit more of a runner at times when the field opens up to him. I like that he's looking upfield. I like that he's trying to make plays. But for me, there are some easy gains in the offensive in the running game that I think he should take advantage of. Taylor B says comps to Mahomes are crazy because Mahomes coming out wasn't the same player. Agree 100%, Taylor B. And that would be my concern. I think if you wanted to compare, see, I didn't scout Mahomes coming out, but I don't know. That would be fun to go back and look at prospect Mahomes versus prospect Caleb Williams. Sam Teets, Chris, is he better or worse than Trevor Lawrence? Oh, I think Trevor's better. I think Trevor's better. Bailey says, I don't. He's a very exciting guy who has all the tools if he can refine the normal on-script stuff. I have him behind Lawrence. Yeah, I would have him. It's close. Don't get me wrong. I think Caleb's great, but I think I would have Trevor Lawrence in front of Caleb Williams right now, evaluating him as a prospect. I think I like Trevor a lot more. But yeah, so there you have it. There's my early report there on Caleb Williams. I will tell you, I had a lot of fun this morning watching him. I sat down. I woke up 5:30 a.m. this morning, my time. I picked out the 2 games ahead of time that I was going to watch. I was going to try to sneak a third one in there, but I wasn't able to do it. And I sat down this morning, and I am in, I have my office here and I have my door open, and I'm talking to myself this morning to the point where my girlfriend came in. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Sorry, I'm just watching Caleb Williams, and I'm really enjoying myself more than I thought I would." Again, I still have those concerns and the areas for improvement, but guess what? That's what 2023 is going to be for. So the things that I would keep an eye on are, can he have that touch in his passing game? Can he do better in the on-script stuff? And can he limit kind of those hero ball plays that give me kind of the Johnny Manziel vibe of that you're not going to get away with that at the next level? Kind of like the Zach Wilson stuff, where he was able to get away with some stuff at BYU that you're not going to be able to rely on that stuff at the next level. Bailey says, I'm really excited to see everyone's thoughts on May. Yeah, I mean, I am too. I'm going to watch May Wednesday morning, and that's going to be the show topic for Wednesday. And then we'll figure out who we want to watch for Friday, but we'll be watching the quarterbacks here for the next couple of weeks here on the show. How did he compare to this past QB class? I liked him more. I liked him more than Will. I liked him more than Anthony. Did I like him more than CJ? I did like him more. Yeah, Sam says easily the number one in this past QB class. I think I agree with that. I think he would have been Carolina's pick. Because I think he does the off-script stuff better than any of the other guys, and I think he's close enough with the on-script stuff to allow the off-script stuff, because that's the special stuff. That's the stuff that wins you MVPs. That's the stuff that makes you special. He does a lot of what Bryce does, but better. He's also bigger. I think he's more athletic. He runs the ball more effectively than I think CJ. Him and May go 1 and 2 this year. Bailey, don't put some proclamations out there like that. We've got a long road ahead. There are some guys in this class. We got Bo Nix to talk about. Oh, you're talking like him and May go 1 and 2 this year. I understand. Yes. I think I agree with that. I'm excited. I don't know a ton about Drake May. Obviously being a Pac-12 guy, being an ASU guy, I've watched a lot of Caleb. I'm the guy that's up late Pac-12 after dark. Like, I'm out here watching USC and watching Caleb. Drake May is a guy that I'm really excited to do the deep dive on, and I've already got the games kind of loaded up. And I can actually see what games I've got available to me to be able to watch. But I've really enjoyed watching Caleb Williams, and I'm really excited for Drake May, because I will tell you, my preconceived notion was that I thought I was going to like Drake May more, but I didn't think I was going to like Caleb as much as I did. So we'll see if Drake's able to exceed expectations for me on Wednesday when we have this conversation. But I will tell you, and this is how we'll wrap up the show. I was incredibly nervous to do this project in this series. It's kind of why it got delayed a couple of times. I also wasn't able to get my hands on the film right away. I was working on some stuff in the back end, but I was nervous because, and I've shared this thought with you guys before, but I'm the first person to raise my hand and say I'm not a scout, right? I share my thoughts on guys. I share my thoughts on what teams should do. I share my thoughts on a lot of stuff. But I am still a football mind that's constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to get better. And so I was concerned about being able to watch Caleb Williams and come away with enough takeaways to where it was going to be entertaining, engaging, and I would feel confident enough to talk with you guys about what I saw and what I liked. And I'm not to the level of Kyler Joe or any of the other scouts that we have over here at the Draft Network, DP, Keith. Like I can have conversations with those guys, but I'm still learning and still evolving. So I was a little concerned about how this would go, but the fact that we got to a 20-minute show, I had some thoughts already written down in the trusty notebook. I would consider this a massive success here on day one. And so we'll have Drake May tomorrow, on Wednesday, we'll talk about Drake May. And once again, I would like to heap praise on the Oregon State defense. They were very good to watch. They were very fun. And I can't wait to see them here in 2023 as well. But that is going to do it for us here on the first of what is going to be many quarterback conversations for the 2024 draft class here on the show. The big names we're going to dedicate some time to and have shows that are just for them. Like on Wednesday, it'll just be about Drake May. And then I think what we'll do is the further along in this series that we'll go, we'll try to get a couple of guys in per show after we get through some of the big names. So Drake May on Wednesday. We'll figure out who we're talking about on Friday. And then we've got a couple more shows here throughout the week as well. But I appreciate every single one of you being here, making this show a part of your day. Please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. We greatly do appreciate it. A lot of fun coming ahead with training camp starting. Well, we're going to have preseason games. We're going to have some late season roster moves. We're going to have more prospect breakdowns. Lots of stuff coming here on the show, so looking forward to it. So come on and join us if you can, live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube side of things. If you can't catch us live, but you do want to see the video version of the show, you can do so over on the Draft Network YouTube channel. Just click the live tab, and they're all sitting there for you to watch. But appreciate everybody making this show a part of your day. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Monday. We'll talk with you all tomorrow. All right, into the post show. Eugene, what's up, my guy? How are you today? Hope you're having a great start to your week. How do we do, guys? Can I get a 1 out of 10 grade on our Caleb Williams breakdown? Did we feel good about it? I felt okay about it. But would love a grade from the chat while I set up. What? Eugene gave me a 10. Guy shows up late, gives me a 10. Eugene, you're the kind of guy we need around these parts. We got to get the immaculate grid loaded up here for the post show. And I did not do it ahead of time. Don't worry. We need to humble him. Sam says 8 to 8.5. Well done, 8.3. You know, Sam giving me an 8 to 8.5. I know how much football Sam watches. I know the scouting reports that he puts together. So to get an 8.5 out of Sam, I will take that. Total gives me an 8.7. I'll take the high marks. Thank you very much, everybody. Taylor B says this class is going to look a lot like the 2021 class. There'll be quite a few QBs that go high, but only one or two will pan out. Well, I think the fun part, the fun part is we're going to get to do it, and we're going to kind of do it kind of natural and raw because I don't have a ton of preconceived notions about these guys. Bailey says, I feel good about it, 8. I feel like it's tough to keep us under control with us throwing different things at you with our thoughts. Yeah, but that's kind of the point, right? And I appreciate it, Bailey. But like the idea is I have my thoughts, but the idea isn't for me to just dictate my thoughts to you and you guys to be like, yes or no. Like the point isn't for it to be a conversation. There might be something that you guys pick up on that I don't. There may be ways that you guys phrase things better than I do. Like specifically Sam, because he talked about how his lack of touch, and he said that it was on specific throws. And I have written down here his touch is a problem for me. Like I just didn't see enough of it. So it's all about building a great conversation starter here for the player. And now gives us a frame of reference. Now that we know how we all feel about him, we are going to be able to go back and throughout the season say, okay, how did this match up with what we thought in the summer? And so that's really fun for me personally. Penix has the injury history and Bo Nix still has the processing concerns. I can't wait to watch both of those guys. All right. You guys ready? Ready for the post show? All right. We've got the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to go with this guy. We're going to go with Thomas Patrick Edward Brady. 52% of people said Thomas Patrick Edward Brady. No shame. Did I see Oppenheimer? Yes, Chris. Yes, we'll do a film review in a second. New England Patriot and a Washington Commander. New England Patriot and a Washington Commander. We're going to hold on that. New England Patriot and Miami Dolphin. We're going to go Devontae Parker. 25% on the Devontae Parker. We need a Seattle Seahawk and a Miami Dolphin. We need a Seattle Seahawk and a Miami Dolphin. Hold, please hold. Hold, please. Miami Dolphin and a first-team AP All-Pro. Tampa Bay Buccaneer, first-team AP All-Pro. Did Tristan Wirfs get a first-team AP All-Pro as an offensive lineman? This section concerns me greatly. The Commanders crossover, that's going to be rough. We need a Dolphin who had first-team AP All-Pro. Do we want to say Tyreek Hill? Do we want to say Jalen Waddle? Do we want to say one of those guys? If anybody did this already, how recent is the All-Pro? Well, it's got to be at least last season. It can't. I would discount last year. Well, no, it could be last year. I'm trying to think of recent guys on the Bucs. Devin White, was Devin White a first team? I'm just thinking of big names on the Tampa defense over the last couple of years. Oh, Mike Evans might be. We're gonna fire it. We're gonna fire Mike Evans. This might be tough. This might be a bad guess. It was a bad guess. We can't go 9 for 9. Mike Evans not a first team AP All Pro. This hurts. We're not gonna be able to go perfect. Namp Sam, you got it. You got to be quicker. Levante, we'll go Levante David. Yep, 10%. We would have gotten it. Taylor B. Should have spoke up sooner. We need a Seahawk and a Buck. We need a Seahawk and a Buck. Nobody's immediately coming to mind. I need a Seahawk and a Commander. Chris, you already said the correct Dolphin already. This guy? That guy. Get him in there. So we've got 4. We cannot go perfect, but we can go 8 for 9, and then that'll put pressure on the baseball side of things. See, this is the thing. We got to put pressure on the baseball side of things to see if I can do baseball. And I don't mind taking help on the football. I won't take help on the baseball. Commanders, first team All-Pro. Terry McLaurin? I feel like that's a fair... If we're going to go a recent player, it's got to be Terry McLaurin. Who else could it possibly be? Taylor? Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, you got to be kidding me. It's tough. Do you remember the video of the special teams player crying on Ron Rivera's shoulder? Deion Sanders? What are we... John Adams. You guys are just shouting names at me. John Abrams? What are we doing? You got to be more unified as a group here, Chad. If we're going to submit guesses here, we're going to put Deion here? You want to put Deion right here? Is that what you're asking for, Heldy? You're just shouting names at me. You want to put Deion Sanders right here. There you go. You happy? Are you happy that you put Deion Sanders right there? How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel, Heldy? This is going great for us. Jonathan Allen? Jonathan Allen was a first-team AP All-Pro? Are we sure about this? All right, Sam saved this in time. Sam saved this in time. Sam, you can't just say no. You got to give me names, man. I told you football's not my thing. But we're gonna max at 6, and I think I can get 6 baseball pretty easy today. I haven't looked, but 6 is normally I can get 6. We need a Dolphin and a Seahawk. How long ago can the All-Pro be? It can be as long as they were an All-Pro since AP All-Pro has been a thing. You want Darryl Green here? Is that what you want, Sam? You want Darryl Green right there. That's a fantastic help for you. So now we've got 4 options here, and we can just get one more. So we can get a Seahawk and a Buck. I don't have an obvious name that comes to mind. A Dolphin and a Seahawk. Does Dion not count because he didn't? I think you got to do it with the team. Yeah, you got to do it with the team. Miami Dolphins, Seattle Seahawks. Mostert was in San Francisco, but was Mostert in Seattle? I feel like there's some crossover that we can find there. Commander and a Patriot. Commander and a Patriot. Commander, Patriot. Buccaneer, Seahawk. Commander, Seahawk. A Dolphin, Seahawk. Brandon Merriweather. Where would you like Brandon Merriweather to go, Sam Teets? Seahawk in Tampa is Richard Sherman. Fantastic pull. There you go. We got 6. Average score is 5.3, though, guys. Better than average. So now, can we beat 6 with baseball? Watch how good this is. Watch how good this is. Yankee in the Hall of Fame. We'll go Babe Ruth. Seahawk Hall of Fame, we'll go Edgar Martinez. 300 save. This is going to be Trevor Hoffman, who's also in the Hall of Fame. There's not many of them. A 300-plus save career. Oh, God. This, we can go Papelbon. A Seahawk, a Mariner, and a Red Sox. Mariner and a Red Sox. Hold on. We need a Yankee. Yeah, but the point is to see if together as a football group we can do better on the football than I can personally do on the baseball. That's kind of the game that we play every day. It's not going very well for you guys. Tampa and the Yankees. Nobody that immediately comes to mind. A 300-plus save career for the Tampa Bay Rays. This is the only guy that I can think of that would have done it. Yeah, I'm not going to get this one. If it's not Grant Belfour, I can't think of a guy who it would have been for the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't have an option. So we're not going to go perfect today. I just need to get 2 more. I need to get 3 more to beat football. So we need a Mariner and a Red Sox. Oh, this is easy. We'll put this guy here, Johnny Damon. We need a Yankee and a Ray. Imagine only 11% of people saying that the Yankee in the Hall of Fame was 11%. Jeter's probably the more popular answer, but imagine. A Yankee and a Ray. It's cross division stuff. Who left within the division? Who went either direction in the division? I'm trying to think. Carl Crawford. No. Carl Crawford went this way. Evan Longoria. No. I think it's some big names. Dustin Pedroia. No. Mariner and a Red Sox. Got like a pitcher. Mike Leake. Robbie Ray. This is tough. This is a tough grid today, folks. This is a tough grid. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm certainly going to give it a try. You're going to hear my unfiltered thoughts here as I do this. This is what it's like every day when I do it. Seattle. Ichiro, Felix Hernandez. Trying to name players and see if it spawns like a general direction that I can go in. Felix Hernandez, Ichiro, Seager, D. Gordon, Gene Segura. Gene Segura play for the Red Sox? I don't think so. I think Gene Segura played for the Red Sox. We've got... I might have to give up here. Next, can we play... No, we cannot play the Pokemon Wordle. No, we cannot. I might have to concede today, folks. Football might have beaten baseball today. Unless I can think of the Ray that has 300 career saves. Oh. Jason Isringhausen. I think he pitched for the Rays for a little bit. Can't get you. You can hit me with the Grant Belfour, but I'm going to hit you with the 6% Jason Isringhausen, and there's nothing that you can do about that. Nothing you can do about that. Rumors of the baseball immaculate grid's demise greatly exaggerated. Now we've got 6, so now we're going for the win with 2 guesses left. 6% Jason Isringhausen. Look at me now. So we need a Red Sox and a Mariner. Griffey did not play for the Red Sox. Did Griffey Sr. play for the Red Sox? Not sure. Edgar Martinez, Felix Hernandez, Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee? Where did Cliff Lee pitch? This might be Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee? Son of a gun. Cliff Lee didn't pitch for the Red Sox. Thought for sure I could see that lefty big looping motion. One guess left to try to beat Football Wordle. If not, it'll be a tie, and we'll go to tomorrow. Man, the Yankee and the Ray should be the easiest thing of all time. As somebody who lived on the East Coast, who lived in New York, wasn't a Yankee fan, but boy, did they talk about the Yankees all the time. This should be the easiest thing of all time. David Price? No. Blake Snell? No. Could be a reliever. Could be. Brooks Raley? Brooks Raley went to the Mets. Brooks Raley did not go to the Yankees. Kevin Kiermaier? Don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. A Ray and a Mariner. A Ray and a Mariner. Ray and a Mariner. It's tough. It's tough. I got my Oppenheimer review ready to go. And we can't get there because I can't figure this out. I think I'm going to concede. I'll just guess a random name to see what the popular names were, but I don't think so. Like, if I go Griffey Sr., no. 7.4. Who was the most? James Paxton. I could have gotten that. Wade Boggs probably should have gotten. Fernando Rodney was the most popular answer. What did I say about Derek Jeter, by the way? And then Mariano Rivera. Yeah, I went with a different name. Okay. Well, you can't win them all, you know. The tie going into tomorrow. I saw Oppenheimer Friday night. Day it was released. I am a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I think I've said that before here on the show. He's probably one of my favorite directors ever. So I have a bias. I'm also impartial to history. I love historical films. I've listened to 6-hour podcasts on Oppenheimer and World War II and the invention of the nuclear bomb and the Cold War. Like, I've lived in reading books about that time period. So I've got a lot of biases going into a film by Christopher Nolan that is a historical biopic about a person that I'm familiar with and have studied. So there's a lot of biases going on here. That being said, I will not give it a perfect score because there's not a lot of movies that deserve perfect scores. We're going 9.5 out of 10. The movie is excellent. The movie is absolutely excellent. Every character is perfectly cast. Cillian Murphy plays an absolutely excellent Oppenheimer, conveys all of the complex nature of him as a person, because he was a very complex person, was a very conflicted person after the Trinity test and after the building of the atomic bomb. It is absurdly good. It's Heldy says, I think for me it could be in my top 5 Nolan, maybe even top 3. I'm there. It's there for me. I have Inception and Tenet in there as well, and Interstellar for me personally. So it would probably go 4. Is it biopic or biopic? I thought it was a biopic. I thought that's how you pronounced it. I'm not sure though. Now you've got me questioning everything. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. 9.5 out of 10. I thought Robert Downey Jr. was excellent. Matt Damon's character is awesome. Cillian Murphy does a great job with Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Memento, Heldy, and I know as a Christopher Nolan fan, that's probably like blasphemy. I just haven't gotten around to it. So I will get around to it here at some point, but I know healthy. I know I'm not gonna make any excuses for it. I'm not gonna make any excuses for not having seen Memento. I haven't seen Dark Knight either, but I'm not a huge Batman fan, so I will absolutely share with you Healthy when we watch it. So we are done here today on the show. Next prospect breakdown is Wednesday. We'll do Drake May. I know Taylor B. I have not seen Memento. I'll let you know when I watch it. I know Taylor B. I know it's blasphemy, and I apologize greatly. We got Drake May on Wednesday. Oh, I haven't seen. I haven't seen Dark Knight either. Yeah, no. Only Batman I've seen is the new Batman, the James Patterson Batman. It's the only Batman I've seen, and I love that one. So I will watch both Memento and The Dark Knight and give full movie recaps. We got Drake May on Wednesday. I'm not sure what we'll do tomorrow. Maybe a news and notes with some stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the football world, so we'll see. Damien's got a mock draft out. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow on the show. Dame, I'm not starting with it. He's got Caleb to the Cardinals. I'm not doing it. I can't. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. We usually do mock draft Monday, but maybe we'll do a mock draft Tuesday since we did the prospect today on the show. I wanted to at least get that in. So maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. But we've got a fun week of shows planned for you guys. That should be a lot of fun. Should be a blast as we get closer and closer. Yeah, mock draft Tuesday feels like what we're going to be doing tomorrow here on the show. So that's what we've got to look forward to. Should be a lot of fun. Appreciate all of you being here. Appreciate every single one of you making this show a part of your day. Hope you all have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk with you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.